Hello and a warm welcome to Triumph, where women share stories of shattering glass ceilings. This week, let me tell you a tale of empowerment, unity, and fish-filled success. Get comfortable and let's dive right into Nakato Margaret of Katosi Development Trust's story. A shining example of how joint community ventures can pave way to incredible development. My name is Okello Sharon Nagenjwa.
Brought to you by Stanbic Bank Uganda.
It all started with Margaret, a visionary who saw the untapped potential of her fellow women in Katosi. Like a superwoman with a cape made of determination, she realized that by banding together, they could achieve great things. And boy, did they prove her right. This is her story. So, hi, Margaret.
Hello, how are you?
I arrived here and I'm thinking, wow.
Thank you.
Just to go straight to it.
Right.
How does a community venture like this start? What's your story?
What we have here actually started almost 25 years ago. We started as a small organization, a small women's group at Katosi. It's just 4-5 kilometers from here.
Yes.
And we started to support women to engage in fisheries. And the reason why I started that, from where I'm coming from, my father used to make all the decisions for me. And growing up, I was determined that I don't want to be married. I want to have my education and live in my own house. And then that was it. But when I came to Katosi and started to live with my mother, and I saw how women were depending on their husbands, and many of these women were third, some even seventh wife, and they were really they were struggling, because by then fishing communities had a lot of use of, even now there's a lot of use of alcohol, and there's a lot of domestic violence. Even as of now, we've been doing participatory disaster risk assessment in the communities, and in some communities domestic violence has been identified and ranked as a number one priority. So domestic violence is still prevalent. So first,
every little child, every little girl's dream is to have that wedding.
right.
And you did not want anything to do with marriage.
But by then, yes, I didn't want to have children. I didn't want to be married. But eventually, I was married and I had children.
Eventually, someone came and swept you off your feet. And then
and everything changed.
Yes.
But even though that happened, and then I moved away from Katosi and I lived in Kampala, because my husband then were living both in Kampala. But then we used to, even that still remained in me, to have seen women being battered by their spouses. And my mother was a midwife in this community, so she's the only person who had a clinic, and then they would come for treatment. So one time I asked her, why doesn't this woman leave her husband? And she told me she can't leave because she's dependent on her. So it remained in me that I wish I could do something to help these women to stop being dependent on somebody. Eventually, in around 2000, there was a change in the fisheries, a total change, because by then women were smoking fish and they were taking it to sell in Zaire, Congo. I remember I had my auntie who was independent, powerful woman. She was proud to be that individual. She would take fish to Congo, come back with money. And I wanted all women to be independent like her. And then seeing some of these women being so vulnerable, dependent on their husband, I was like, I wish I could do something about this. And during that time, many people were dying of HIV/AIDS in these communities. Of course, even the HIV prevalence is still very high in fishing communities as of now. So because the fishermen were marrying 6 wives, 7 wives. I have some of my cousins were second wives, third wives. So this particular woman, her husband had died. She was in the fisheries with her husband, and she was managing the landings, weighing the fish. And when the husband died, they wanted to take the boat away from her.
Okay.
Women are not supposed to own assets.
Yes.
So she came to my mother. My mother was a point of a reference in the community. People would come and consult
Her,
her
yes.
a lot.
Is she still alive?
Yes, she is.
Okay. Does she live around?
She lives around,
Okay.
not
Yes.
very far from here, at Katosi. So this lady was talking to her, and then she was like, I wish they leave me to continue to manage the boat so that I can be able to continue to earn income to be able to support these children. And that really sparked me, and I'm like, no, I have to start now. So that's when I started with 16 women, I think. And then when we started, by then they thought it was a Catholic organization.
Yeah.
But I had to really encourage everybody to come. I said, as long as you are willing to come and we work together, then you are welcome. And then
So why did people imagine it's a Catholic?
because most of the
organization?
women we started with were Catholic. My mother is a staunch Catholic woman.
Okay.
So, when you're starting organization, you always bring people who are very close to you.
Now that's
to
the part.
come.
That's the part I also want to talk about. Having a community venture is not an easy thing.
No.
Like just bringing people together for one business venture.
Totally.
How do you make that happen?
I feel people must trust you. People trusted my mother. And by then I was among the only children in the community who had got education. So they trusted that I have education, I've been educated. So they trusted me to believe in me that I can organize them and they can work together to improve on their livelihoods as women working together. Right.
Yeah.
And then I started to mobilize funds to be able to support my initiative for the women to be in fishing.
Did that come easy?
It was not very difficult, which is also very surprising given the circumstances now. It is very, very demanding now to fundraise, to sustain the organization. It's 25 years now. I don't want to say it is easy. It was much easier then. So we got funding for 2 boats, and then I was able to support the women to start fishing. And by then the proceedings from fishing were very, very high. Like the profits from the activity were very high. And we were eventually able to move very fast forward.
Yeah.
And in the community, when they saw the boats, they looked at the boats as boats for women, not a woman, for women.
For women.
So that made the women who were working on the boats, who were receiving the fish, stronger. Nobody would really harass them as she would have been harassed if she was an individual. We were stronger together as a team. And when the proceedings from the fishing increased, we started to create microfinancing so that as we have also not to depend on one income generating activity.
Yes.
So that not everybody is in fishing, but there's a lot of activities in the fishing communities that thrive because of the fisheries. So we started to give out loans to some women, and then we continued to work together in that. Eventually, there was a change again in the sector. There was a ban of fishing sometime, and then when there was a ban, then that's when I realized, like, now my dream is just being shut down, because when the fisheries shuts down in these communities, everything shuts down. There was no income coming in, and then because I have this ethic that I have to consult the women all the time on what we are going to do. So again, I consulted them that, what do you think we should do now that we can no longer engage in fishing? Then they advised, maybe we start rearing animals like those cows, the zero grazing cows.
Wow.
I studied about it, what does it mean? But many of them were very hesitant. They say only a person who has attained education is the one who can be able to rear such a cow.
Wow. Margaret, we'll get back to the cow rearing bit as well. Yes. As they say, if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together. With Margaret's story of community venturing, we realize that when you come together to start a business, it moves even faster and farther. And we will be right back with Margaret's story to enlighten us on what best ways to approach community venturing. Welcome back for those who have just joined us. Today, we are discussing community venturing through the story of Margaret of Katosi women. If you've thought of starting a venture, but you're wondering, how do I start? Where do I start from? I cannot do it alone. Well, there's a solution for you. You can start with others. A business, a venture, whatever. You don't have to do it alone. Have a pool of community. It's like fuel. You know, when you put fuel in the car, it will like accelerate faster when you are together than when you are alone. And then we'll get into, of course, the all the other activities that you're doing as a group,
Right.
and how the group has managed to stand for over 25 years.
Right.
Yeah. So can we get into that, Margaret?
So we started to support households to access clean, safe water, to improve on their sanitation at household, because most of the communities were depending on the water from the lake, and many did not have latrines.
Now, this is a business venture.
Right,
When the profit comes in,
right.
how do you share it with the women?
Because for water, sanitation
Yes.
is improving the individual's household livelihood and living environment. It's not an economic activity.
Okay. Now how, for the fishing and then the zero grazing?
The zero grazing is also an individual household activity.
Okay.
In the beginning, we're always saying we are supporting the woman in that household to have a cow.
Okay.
Then the woman had a cow, then the husband was looking at the woman who owns the cow, and then we had conflict emerging in the households because the husbands were feeling neglected, the women had become powerful, they have income coming in daily, and then usually women have to go for burial, to attend for family members who are sick, and then when they leave the cow at home, the husband was not taking care of the cow. So we realized that's a conflict we are creating at the household. Then we decided to bring in the husband as well. So we are saying that a cow is now for the entire household, and the husband now can sign that we are owning the cow together. What is
the biggest challenge you have encountered in this venture?
I can say the challenges are on different multitudes. We have people's beliefs, which are difficult to change, which or change gradually. You don't see change happen very, very fast. In the fishing communities, we have people of different tribes. We have people from the north, we have people from Congo, we have people from Rwanda. All those people come in those communities to live together, but with different norms on how to use a latrine. And then we have only provided one latrine in that community. And you are telling these people to use the latrine together communally, and then it's very, very challenging to bring those people together to use the latrine communally together.
So did you ever face a kind of like rejection at some point in the, among the women community?
Not rejection. I may not call it rejection. I may call it conflicts could emerge.
Yes.
The conflicts we've experienced have been arising from politics. That's why we really emphasize we are non-political organization, and we only came together for development. But we allow women to join to belong to any political group. I don't tell them which political group I belong to, because they could easily align with my political, and then that could cause divisions. Okay. So we have experienced that before. Sometimes when we in working in the community, because some of the projects we are working on, my goal was to put women in the position where they can be the drivers of transformation in the communities, and that's happening now. Women are managing community water sources. They are our small coordinators in the communities.
Did you ever face a conflict between your personal life,
right,
and then the life you have to live to at least to meet up the expectations of the women as their leader?
I think my biggest challenge is to just balance my home and my work, because sometimes I'm taken away more often from my family. But now my family have grown up, they're adults, so but that was the only personal experience I had with the women. I can say that in the beginning it was very difficult because the women were like pointing at every problem they have at you.
Yes.
I can't pay school fees for my child. My husband is beating me. But now they only come to me and they say, would you please help me make a decision on these 2 schools which I should take my child to?
Did you feel overwhelmed? Because every minute somebody is coming up with a problem, and if you do not meet their expectations, it can really be irritating.
What I tried to do at that moment was to distance myself a little bit and say, we are going to solve your problems by working together in a group.
Okay.
Because I could not, it was not possible for me to be able to meet the need of every individual.
The personal individual.
Exactly.
Because as selfish individuals, we always want our personal problems.
So whenever an individual comes to me with a challenge, with a problem, from whatever group, because we have 44 groups we are working with in Mukono, we have in Kalangala, I say, go back to your group. Tell them your challenge. Let the group tell us how they want to help you, and then we'll be able to move forward from that. I don't, when I'm here with the women, I don't accept to receive anything from them.
Personal requests.
No. You have to go back to your group. Let that group look at it. What is the structure we've put in place for you to be able to help you be able to address the conflict in your home? And then let the group leader, the chairperson, bring it to us. And then we'll use the same measure to be able to address it. I have to really stick to that structure. Otherwise, I would be overwhelmed.
Would you say that you have arrived?
Currently, we are working with 1,000 women.
Okay.
My passion and my aspirations is strengthening women. As an organization, we are also organized at Global. We are working with the World Forum of Fish Harvesters and Fish Workers, and I was the co-president for 8 years from 2004. That means I'm bringing together women, fisher from all over the world, because WFF has 41 member countries, and now we are hosting it. So I also want to reach out to those women to be able to see that we grow together as women in fisheries. The challenges all these women in fisheries are facing in different countries are also more similar but different.
So from the moment you started,
yeah,
what would you term as the biggest development?
The biggest development for me has been able to continually grow with the number of women we are working with who even trust me to work with them. We started with 26, we went to 5 groups, 100 went to 10, 17, 30. Currently we have 1,000 women organized under Katosi Women Development Trust. And I know we are still growing because in the new areas in Buvumani, Kalangala, so many other women want to come to work and under Katosi Women Development Trust.
What have you achieved?
So I look at that as a strong development. And another achievement I feel we've done is to be able to transform the role of a woman in this community. We've been able, when we are doing our water sanitation, we train a woman to construct a tank.
So they construct
construct the tanks. So when the community used to think that a woman can only not do that work, we want to break those barriers. We want to break through the glass ceilings. Exactly. So the women we train them to construct the rainwater harvesting tanks, and they're earning income out of that. So even when the community wants somebody to have a tank constructed, there is a skilled person in their communities to do that. We've trained the women to construct latrines.
Yes.
We have introduced in this area a new technology which is appropriate for these communities because the soils are sandy. That means when you dig the latrine, the pit latrine, it can easily sink in or fall in. So we have a new technology, EcoSan. So we have a woman who is trained to empty that latrine, to construct the EcoSan latrine, a new technology. And she's called an engineer in this community. She never went to school.
Wow. What is your final word to the viewers, Margaret?
Yes, my last word out to the world is women as human beings are equal to men, and they should be given the opportunity to explore their full potential. And particularly to the women, is to call upon all the women to work together to be able to transform those social cultural norms that are really restricting us to realize our full potential. I know working with Katosi Women Development Trust, we've been able to, as women, to work together to be able to change so many social cultural norms that women don't go fishing. We've been able to break through that women don't construct. We've been able to break through that as a group. And we can do so much if we work together.
My name is Annette Namlondo Luge. I work with Stanbic Bank in the public sector department, where we do have Stanbic for her. We are talking about Nakato. Margaret is a founder of Katosi Women Development Trust. This is an NGO that was actually founded to empower a woman. So at Stanbic Bank, we're very passionate about women. We're very passionate at empowering them. We're very passionate at having a woman grow from the grassroots to the top. When we look at Katosi Women Development Trust, this is a trust that is empowering, employing as many women out there. So we believe that by them being financially capable, financially stable, they are also the same is being applied at their home. The same is being applied at the well-bringing up of their children. How does Stanbic Bank come in? Stanbic Bank looks at a woman at 360 degrees. We are looking at a woman from the grassroots. We are looking at the woman who is actually down there in the deep ends like of Katosi. That is a rural area. We do not only look at women in town. We are looking at the woman totality. And how do we ensure that this woman actually gets value from what they are doing? We empower women both financially and non-financially, but also as a woman, an individual woman. We also have very good attractive opportunities for them. One, we have accounts that are styled under women for her, and these accounts don't have monthly management fees. Reason being is we do not want a woman to lose any coin, because we believe each money that is good will be used to develop her family, will be used to take their children to school. So we do not want to give them accounts that will actually break them. And you find that women love working together. So we encourage them actually to come up with circles, because we have a very good circle preposition. So I call upon all the women out there, please come to Stanbic Bank. We have a very good preposition that is Stanbic for her, that is building at actually building the woman. And once the woman is built, everyone will benefit.
So next time you pass by Katosi, make sure to give these amazing women a high five. They're living proof that when women come together, the sky is the limit. Cheers to the unstoppable force of fisher women who dared to dream big and made it happen. Join us again next week sometime, and follow us on our socials at Girl from Oyam and at Triumph Women UJ. My name is Okelo Sharon Nagenjua.
Brought to you by Stanbic Bank Uganda.